Pretty intense. Luckily, this next segment will be pretty easy. Not much to argue about when it comes to dirt and plants, right? Former Prime Minister Golda Meir once jokingly said, "Let me tell you something we Israelis have against Moses. He took us 40 years through the desert only to bring us to the one spot in the Middle East that has no oil." First of all, Israel is located in the region of the Middle East known as the Levant, or a strip of land bordering the coast of the Mediterranean, known for having its unique semi-arid lush zones that harbors various types of flora and fauna. The country is divided into four main physical geographic regions: the coastal plains, where about 3/4 of the country lives; the central or Judean hills, mostly located in the north and west bank Palestinian regions; then there's the Negev desert in the south, and the Jordan Rift Valley, which surrounds the longest river in the country, the Jordan, that pretty much makes up Israel's entire eastern border. The tallest mountain is located in the disputed Golan Heights area, being Mount Hermon. Otherwise, within the Green Line, Mount Meron in the North District would be the tallest as well. The interesting thing is that the entire Jordan River pretty much is a byproduct of being located on the Dead Sea Transform Fault System, which lies right where the African and Arabian tectonic plates meet. This means that Israel sometimes is subject to earthquakes, potentially destructive ones on average about every 80 years. Right at the end of the Jordan River lies the Dead Sea, the lowest point on Earth at over 420 meters below sea.
Most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt, they've got to give up Israel.
Now, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is northeast Africa. Now, when we look at this map, this is the Sinai, okay? This is the Red Sea. This is Egypt. This is the Sinai. This is Israel. All right, this is Saudi Arabia over here. Now, if you see this in Hebrew, it says Haluach Afrikani, the African plate. Here it is right here. Israel is sitting right here. Israel is sitting on the Haluach Afrikani, which means that Israel is northeast Africa.
Without question, we are in northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that.
Europeans classified this area as a Middle East, you know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West, where the Middle North, and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that. And the only reason why they use that term, Middle East, because it disconnects the proper connotation that should go with describing this land geographically.
overside. You're playing out of your game, nothing can be the same. It's time to move, get caught up in my stride. I see that mankind is dying, but watch me bring them to life. I am the new man. The son of Adam. I am the new man. The spirit of Africa. Just let me let you listen up to me. I've got the plan for all eternity. Mother Africa is gonna take the lead, and Yah will be home, right back on his throne. These words I speak cry out of prophecy. Redemption has come, let the wicked go run, for I am here now in Jerusalem. As a sign of the times, you know my season has come. I am the new man. I am the new man. The son of Adam. Walking to and fro. So here I go. I am the new man. The spirit of Africa. I am the new man on this earth, new Adam. I am the new man, walking to and fro. Watch me, here I go. I am the new man, destined to rule eternity. I am the new man, my loyalty will never cease. Oh, hallelujah. Said now, oh, stride. I see that mankind is dying, but watch me bring them to life. I am the new man. The son of Adam. I am the new man. The spirit of Africa. Just let you listen up to me. I've got the plan for all eternity. Mother Africa is gonna take the lead, and Yah will be home, right back on his throne. These words I speak cry out of prophecy. Redemption has come, let the wicked go run, for I am here now in Jerusalem. As a sign of the times, you know my season has come. I am the new man. I am the new man. The son of Adam. Walking to and fro. So here I go. I am the new man. The spirit of Africa. I am the new man on this earth, new Adam. I am the new man, walking to and fro. Watch me, here I go. I am the new man, destined to eternity. I am the new man, my loyalty will never cease.
Hello, Prime Minister Netanyahu. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me tonight. I've been reading your book, your new book, Bibi, My Story, and it weaves an interesting personal tale, familial tale, and political cultural tale all together. And there is one particular element of it I wanted to begin discussing with you that's, I think, of broad interest. One of the things I realized when I was reading was just how ignorant I am in some fundamental sense about the history of the development of the Jewish state of Israel. And I know that there's tremendous constant noise about issues as fundamental as Israel's right to exist even. And you start by talking about, in your book, you embark on explaining that, at least in some part, by talking about Herzl and his terror that anti-Semitism, that the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe was going to cause a catastrophe, which was obviously a justified terror. Would you be kind enough to walk me and my viewers and listeners through your rationale for the moral justification for Israel, the political justification as well? And I'm going to do what I can to my limited ability, let's say, to push back. I've heard the arguments of often young people who are more prone to give credence and sympathy, say, to the Palestinian viewpoint. And I'd like to rectify my ignorance and maybe help my viewers and listeners do the same thing. So would it be useful to start with Herzl?
Well, I'd start, Herzl was what I call our modern Moses, but I'd actually start with the original Moses. The Jewish people have lived in the land of Israel, what is now the state of Israel, have lived here and have been attached to this place for about 3,500 years, 3.5 millennia. Now, for the first 2 millennia, roughly, of that time, we were living in what is described in a text commonly known as the Bible. So the Bible describes how the Jewish people lived on this land, were attached to this land, fought off conquerors, sometimes were conquered, but stayed on their land. And that continued for a very long time until roughly the 6th, 7th century, actually.
You didn't see me coming through the door. is dying, but watch me bring them to life. I am the new man. The son of Adam. I am the new man. The spirit of Africa. Just let me